All right, this video is finding and using percent of change. So you're going to learn how to solve problems involving percent of change. So three vocabulary ideas we have to walk into with this is percent of change, percent of increase, and a percent of decrease. A percent can be used to describe an amount of change. The percent of change is the amount stated as a percent that a number increases or decreases. If the amount goes up, it is a percent of increase. If the amount goes down, it is a percent of decrease. You can find the percent of change by using the following formula. Percent of change equals the amount of change divided by the original amount. So let's look at an example of finding a percent of change. Find the percent of change, round answers to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. So we're looking at 65 is decreased to 38. And just a helpful hint, when a number is decreased, subtract the new amount from the original amount to find the amount of change. So let's find the amount of change. We would do 65 minus 38, so the change is 27. We would substitute values into the formula. So the percent of change would be 27 divided by 65, because 65 was our original, and 27 is the change that's occurred. We would divide that out. We could use a calculator, and we'd get 0.4153846, but it says round to the nearest tenth, so that would be 41.5%. I get 41.5% because I would move the decimal over twice to get a decimal percent, and then you just round because the number after 5 is 3, so this stays the same. So the percent of decrease is about 41.5%. Going from 65 to 38 is a drop of 41.5%. Let's look at another example. Find the percent of change. Round answers to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. 41 is increased to 92. 41 is increased to 92. So we have to find the amount of change first. So we take the new amount and subtract the old amount. So it's 92 minus 41. You always want to subtract the bigger number from the small number, so we end up with a positive answer. So it's change 51. It's increased by 51. We're going to substitute the values in. So we're looking for the percent of change, which is the change, the amount of change, which is 51, divided by where it originally started. So it's 51 divided by 41. We'd actually divide it out. We would get 1.2439. And we're going to convert that into a percent and round. We would move this over twice, getting 124.4%. We rounded up to 0.4 because after the 3, when we moved it over, this was a 9, that rounds that up. So the percent of increase is about 124.4%. It increased more than 100%. Okay, it went above 41. So there's going just to 41 would be 100, and then a little bit more would give us the extra. Okay, just remember, when a number is increased, just a helpful hint, when the number is increased, subtract the original amount from the new amount. Okay, so now you try. Find the percent of change. Round answers to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. So see if you can solve 70 is decreased to 45. All right, so if you were to solve it out, you'd find the amount of change. That would be 70 minus 45, so we got a change of 25. Substitute 25 divided by 70. 70 is where we originally started. We would divide it out. We would get 0.35714. And then we move the decimal place 2 times to the right and round that, and we would get 35.7%. So the percent of decrease is about 35.7%. Here's another one for you to try. Find the percent of change. Round answers to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. 37 is increased to 56. First, we're going to find the amount of change. So we would do 56 minus 37. Again, the change is always going to be found by subtracting the big number from the small number. We'd substitute in. Our amount of change was 19. Our original was 37. So we would do 19 divided by 37. We would divide it out using a calculator. So you get 0.51351. And then we would convert that to a percent, and we get 51.4%. We get 51.4% because the 3 rounds up because the 5 is after it. So the percent of increase is about 51.4%. When you know the percent of change, you can use an equation to find the actual amount of change. So let's look at using percent of change. So the regular price of a bicycle helmet is $42.99. It is on sale for 20% off. What is the sales price? Okay, so step 1, we want to find the actual amount of the discount. So think about it. 20% of $42.99 is what number? Well, we could take the percent and multiply it by $42.99 to get the discount. We just want to write the percent as a decimal though, so it would be 0.20 as opposed to 20%. Multiply with this with a calculator, and you get 8.598. But since it's money, we'd end up rounding it up to the nearest cent, and it would be about $8.60. So that is how much you save. That is the 20% off. But we're looking for the sales price. Okay? So the regular price again is $42.99. It is on sale for 20% off. What is the sales price? Now we define the sales price. We take the regular price, the $42.99, subtract the amount of the discount, and that would give us the sales price. You get $42.99 minus $8.60, and the sale price would be $34.39. So that would be the sales price. You could have also done this by finding 80%, because if you found 80%, it would be finding out how much you ended up paying for it. But either way, it works fine. Okay? So here's one for you to do. The regular price of a computer is $49.88. It is on sale for 15% off. What is the sales price? Okay, so step 1 is find the actual amount of the discount. So I would find 15% of $49.88 by doing 15% times 49.88, but I would convert the percent to a decimal first, so I get 0.15 times 49.88. Take your calculator out, multiply, you get 7.482, and we would round that to $7.48. Now the $7.48 is the discount, not the sales price. So when we go to step 2, we would subtract that amount from the original. We would take our original price, subtract the amount of discount. That would give us the sales price. The original amount was $49.88. Subtract the $7.48, which is the 15% off, and this is how much you would end up paying for the computer game. $42.40. All right, and then finally we have the business application to it. Okay, you might see something like this, which is like markup as opposed to discounts. Okay, or even maybe some element of commission, which is something else you might see. A boutique buys hand-painted t-shirts for $12.60 each and sells them at 110% increase in price. What is the retail price of the t-shirts? Well, first we have to find the actual amount of the increase. So we would find what is the 110% of $12.60. And we can do that just by multiplying, as we did before, 110% times 12.60. But we would convert the percent into a decimal, which would be 1.10 times 12.60. We would multiply with our calculator. We would get $13.86. Now we're finding the selling price. This is what they're going to add to this. The $13.86 is what they add to how much they paid for it. So you take the wholesale price, which is what they bought it for, add the amount of increase, and that will give us the retail price. So they buy them for $12.60. They add on $13.86, and then they sell them at retail price of $26.46. Okay, so wholesale means what they originally bought it for. Okay, and then the amount of increase is the percentage that we found, and we add that to find the retail price. Okay, now you try. William makes t-shirts for $7 each and sells them after a price increase of 125%. What is the retail price of the t-shirts? So we would find the actual amount of increase first. So we'd find 125% of $7. And we can do that by doing 125% times 7. But we would convert the 125% to a decimal of 1.25 times 7. We multiply with our calculator and we get $8.75. But that is what he adds onto it. So that's not the retail price. That's just what he adds on to make profit. So now we're going to use our numbers to find the answer, which is going to be $15.75 each. And you get that by taking the wholesale price, which was $7. You add the extra that he adds on, which is $8.75. And you end up with a retail price of $15.75. Okay, here's some practice problems for you to do. 10 is increased to 12. What is the percent of change? That would be 20%. 25 is increased to 45. What is the percent of change? That would be 80%. 10 is decreased to 1. What is the percent of change? 90%. And you get 90% because it went from 10 to 1. So you took away 90% of the original amount. The regular price of a coat is $120. It is on sale for 25% off. What is the sale price? $90. And then finally, a backpack that sells for $42 is on sale for 25% off. Find the sale price. That would be $31.50. Okay.